Welcome. My name is Jeff St Laurent, and this is the Tuesday live show. And in just a minute, I'm going to introduce my awesome mentor coaching client. Before we get rolling, I want to get rolling soon. Just a few things, housekeeping items, as I like to say. I have recordings of all my Tuesday live shows on my website, sellingcoaching.com. If you go there and you want to watch them, go under the university. Not only do I have great interviews there of my success stories of my clients, but also I've got a lot of great educational videos there. And then right on the homepage, I have a brand new free resource for you called Launching Your Full-Time Coaching Business, the First 3 Vital Steps. You'll see how I bribe you there with my dog. But either way, if you enter your name and email address, you'll get that great video resource. So you can take advantage of that. And then also that's going to put you in my email community so we can stay in touch. Not only that, get some great information, and also you can start to observe how I utilize email to stay and communicate with my audience, stay in front of them, which, as Caroline knows, is a vital thing to be doing. So without any further ado, I'd like to welcome my great mentor coaching client, Caroline Castrillon.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be here.
So I'm excited for this because we've been together, as we just talked about before we went live, about 8 months. We started April this year. Now it's December. And you've gone on quite the journey. And I want to get to the place where you're at now.
Yeah.
But first, let's just jump right in. Let's rewind back to the place where, you had come to me. So talk about kind of the mindset you were in, what challenges you were facing where, okay, I've got to talk to this guy, Jeff, and I need his help. Talk about those frustrations, challenges, and where you were.
Yeah. So I found you through IPEC. So you were kind of part of my program. And after seeing your videos, I felt so connected to your approach that I reached out to you. And the things I was thinking about at that time were the business side of things, like my niche. That was the first thing I think we talked about, and what sort of focus I was going to have. And then launching my website and what my presence was going to look like, and that whole website flow of people coming in and my free offer and all the nitty-gritty details. I felt really prepared through IPEC in terms of the coaching part, and then there's the business side of things. And I have a background in marketing, but I felt like you had a lot of experience specific to the coaching world, and that's really where I was at the time.
Yeah, and that's a big difference, right? Is that you have that experience, but then also you're coming into this and you feel confident as a coach.
Yeah.
But then there's the business side of it. It's a completely different story.
Right.
So talk about like that evolution, like, because I want to talk about your evolution, but for coming into it, which we'll get into your niche, is tell them like where you came from and what was going on in your life, because you had come from the corporate world, and now you weren't working a job when you started to do this. So just give them a brief story of how you got to where you got to and why you're doing what you're doing, which is your niche now.
Yeah. So I was in corporate marketing for 25 years. And so I worked for large companies, small companies, and for years I wanted to be my own boss, but I didn't really know what to do or how to get there. I finally got to the point where, I kept climbing the corporate ladder, but I found myself not getting any happier, even though I made more money, I had more responsibility. And so that's when I knew, okay, something's not right here. When my family and friends were thrilled when I got my last VP job, and I wasn't. I was very unhappy. So it got to the point where I was sitting in my office one day, and basically I was like, there's got to be something more than this. And I felt like I was meant to do something that I felt more aligned to and more passionate about. I wanted to also kind of leave behind a legacy that I could be proud of. I didn't feel that emotionally attached to the work that I was doing prior to this, and I felt I was more attuned to like connecting with people on a personal level, mentoring, which I'd done in my previous roles and was very attracted to, and just interacting on that personal level and helping people grow personally and professionally. So I started seeking out different roles and things that I could do, and coaching was one thing I came across, because I actually, before I started working with you, I worked with another coach a while back, and she had gone to IPEC, and that's kind of how I got introduced to IPEC and that whole world. And so then I left, I decided with this last job that I had, the VP job, I decided to leave altogether because if I felt like if I'm not going to do it now, I'm never going to do it. There's never a right time to start a business. I want everybody to know that. And you're always going to make excuses. So I just decided to go for it. And I felt like, IPEC was going to give me a good foundation in terms of getting certified and having the coaching experience. And then I also wanted something that was going to allow me more flexibility. So the things that I was looking for and that my clients look for are flexibility, fulfillment, and freedom. And that's what I found with coaching.
Yeah, so you went from that job and you quit, right? You gave your notice and you got out of corporate America.
Yeah.
And you decided to pursue coaching full time. Because I know when you came to me, that's where you were. You're like, Jeff, I've got full time with this thing. I really want to blow this up. Yeah. And when we started working together, like what I was impressed with you took the stuff that I gave you and you ran with it. And we had some pretty big gaps in between our sessions because you were just applying the stuff like you were like a machine, especially when it came to your website, which let's talk about that for a minute. And what I'll do is I'll throw that up there and I love her name of her business, corporateescapeartist.com. So you definitely deserve to check that out. I mean, Caroline, you did a fantastic job. Her branding, the quality, the sharp, it's so professional. All of her videos, like challenging her to do these videos. She's got a live show. We'll get into all that stuff, but I'm promoting it because she did such a great job with all that stuff. So talk about your niche, as I like to call it, your headline and where you've taken that.
Yeah. So I think the smartest thing to do for anybody out there who's thinking about their niche, you want to focus on something you're passionate about and that ideally that you know something about, that you have experience with. And obviously I'm passionate about escaping the corporate world to start your own business and find that freedom, flexibility, and fulfillment. And so when you and I started talking, because, a lot of times I find that people attracted to coaching, they just want to help people. And you don't really think about the niche per se. I mean, when I started thinking about this, I just wanted to essentially let people feel like they don't have to settle, in their lives, that they can go for more, that they can trust their instincts, that they don't have to, lead the life that everybody else expects you to live and all that kind of stuff. But then when I dug deeper, I decided to focus on people that, like me, that have been in the corporate world, who've been dying to be their own boss, but they just don't know how to get there, or maybe they don't know, like they know what they want to be their own boss, but they don't really know what kind of business they want to start or what that looks like in terms of making the transition. So I felt like I could help people do that because I struggled with it for so long, and then finally, took that leap myself, and now I'm deep in it. So that's how I kind of got to that niche.
Yeah, and I always recommend this is find that place of passion, like you said, who you're coaching. It's your story. It's where you've been, and it's finding, if you will, a niche in your story that maybe you've gone through. And it doesn't mean you've made it all the way. It's just sometimes you're along that journey at some phase. There's always a spectrum of that journey, and for you, that's you've lived that. And you've escaped that corporate world, and you've done such a fantastic job with the branding and really encapsulating your message. Because what I love about it, it's so clear. Even within the name, Corporate Escape Artist, like you pretty much know what you do just in that name. Never mind, right when you get to your website, it's all there, especially with the free offer that you have right on the homepage as well.
Yeah.
5 signs it's time to leave your soul-sucking job, right? So you really capture the emotion of where someone is.
Yeah. Yeah, it started out as 5 signs it's time to take the leap. And then I just took it a step further because that's really how people feel. I always say to people, if your job isn't energizing you, then you're in the wrong line of work, because your job shouldn't be sucking the energy out of you. It should be filling you with energy. And so that's kind of where and a lot of people resonate more with that that name than the other one. So that's why I went with that. But
Mhm.
yeah, and it's my own experiences in that free guide. It's a lot of the personal stuff that I went through that I found a lot of other people go through as well.
Yeah, and that's always a great avenue to go, is just sharing your personal experiences, especially in the free offers. I recommend a lot of clients do that path, because now people who are reading it or that do get to consume it, they start to understand who you are as a person.
Right.
And when they're going through a similar experience, they start to see you as like, oh, you're relatable and they understand me, and they begin to trust you and open up to you right away. So it's huge.
Yeah.
Talk about the structure that we've set up for you in terms of marketing. You know, you've got your weekly event on Wednesdays, your live show,
Yeah.
and emails that you're doing. Talk about that process and what that's done for you in terms of your consistency each week.
Yeah. So I have a Wednesday Facebook live show at 12 o'clock Central every Wednesday. And so every week I talk about something new related to entrepreneurship, taking a leap, other topics like, just in general, women's entrepreneurship, burnout. And I send emails weekly as well. I started weekly and now I'm doing bi-weekly emails, both promoting my weekly video and then sending out the replay for the people that couldn't join live. And so that's kind of on autopilot. I also reach out to people that download the free offer just to understand their motivation for downloading it and kind of, what stage they're at, to see if I can help them in any way. And I've also introduced a Facebook group as well, because I wanted to develop a community where people can, support each other and feel like they can have other people that are going through the same thing that they can share their experiences with.
Yeah. So you started off with one email. So you got your weekly event, you start off with one email.
Yeah.
And then talk about that evolution, because I think that's important, is sometimes when we're starting off, whatever, like I'm recommending to you or whatever you hear out there, especially it's important to adapt for your audience and what you're doing.
Right.
So why the one email to start, and then why did you recently move to the second email?
Yeah. Well, with my background, I was just being a little more conservative because I was concerned about unsubscribe rates. I also started with a large list of friends and family and people that didn't necessarily come to me saying, yes, I want to escape the corporate life, even though there might be some of those people in that group. I didn't want to kind of overdo it. And, but once I got I also have been doing some social media advertising on Facebook through ads. So once I got people coming in that have been downloading the free offer that are more aligned to my message, I started creating an email more frequently because I felt like it was more targeted to them.
Yeah. Yeah, more targeted. And so, but talk about the mentality of that, because that's what I want to see is like you wouldn't want to overwhelm your friends and family, right? So it's like, yeah, they're there, but you want to be in front of them. But now you're getting on a regular basis with the Facebook ads you're running. What do we say? It was like 3 or 4 a day, maybe?
Yeah.
So, and so how long have you been running Facebook ads for now?
It's been about 3 months, probably.
Yeah. And so how many are on that list, if we can say roughly at this point?
Probably about 500.
Yeah. So now over the last 3 months, now we've got 500 people that are there. So we also upped the autoresponder, meaning the automatic response, in terms of trying to engage them more.
Yeah.
And so it's understanding that audience even more. And so I like that it's almost like you felt compelled to be in front of them more. Is that fair?
Yeah. Because they're more interested in hearing the message. So you want to be in front of them because, especially online, you need to be in front of people very frequently to really get your message across, because they may not read every email that comes to them, and you want to stay in front of them so that you're there when they're ready, like in my case, to think about or actually, take the leap.
Talk about that mental shift. And the reason I'm talking about that one piece is because a lot of coaches that I work with and talk to, they have it like, oh, I want to send my emails once a week or maybe, once a month. And they're afraid of, if you will, like where you were, that unsubscribe rate and, oh, people aren't going to like it. But now you like, I didn't say go to 2 emails. I had said in the beginning, maybe we could start with more, but we adapted to your liking of 1, which made sense. But you went on your own and you said, I want to do 2. What was that shift? What did you learn?
Well, if they're not interested in the message and they unsubscribe, that's probably a good thing. You want people that are interested in what you have to say. And so I guess, just feeling more confident about the fact that your message is resonating with people. And as time went on, I felt that I was inspiring and empowering people with my message. So I felt more confident in terms of putting myself out there more frequently.
Yeah. So a lot of it has to do with that confidence. So,
Yeah.
so now we come to the spot where it's like, you want to launch your business. You've quit your job. That's a big leap right there.
Yeah.
You set yourself up to be able to do that. We worked together. We set your structure up. You got your website up. We launched, like officially went live from doing all the behind the scenes stuff to getting out in public. Was that like August or so? Like
it was July.
Okay, I knew it was right around that time. So July or so. So from there, let's just call it, definitely August, September, October, November. So call it just about 4 months or so.
Yeah.
So now this is the important part, because as we've had our last several calls, openly, right? There's some frustration. We have our moments where this is good, but then there's also that frustration in there. And you're in what we called, like we talked about earlier, is that grind, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about the realities of that, because people don't market that stuff. They're like, oh, you're out there, you're doing the work now. You've got a great marketing system. You're on the Facebook ads, you're getting leads, and you're starting to learn your audience more and more. But talk about the challenges and the realities that you're up with now that everything's out and going and you're actually doing the work.
Yeah. Well, you have to be really patient, and it takes a lot of, starting any business from the ground up is hard. And that's why I always start with passion. You have to be passionate about what you're doing, because you have to have some reason that you're doing it beyond just money. If you want to be a coach because you want to make a bunch of money and you think it's going to be easy and you're going to have all these flexible hours, then I wouldn't do it. You have to want to help people or have some motivation beyond that to really be able to stick with it, because it's not easy. It's not easy to start a business like this where you're really marketing yourself and your services as the product. It's not like you're selling a physical product. So, and it's an emotional leap. It's difficult for some people to make that leap to work with you on a personal level like this, because you have to share a lot of deep, feelings and fears and things like that. So the thing you need to know is that you just need to stay with it, stay consistent, and then you'll start to see results. But you can't let yourself get frustrated or, you can't lose that impetus that you had in the beginning when you're all excited. And there's a lot of ups and downs with having your own business and being an entrepreneur. And that's what this is. Being a coach is running your own business.
How have you gotten through those moments where you're frustrated, or, you're writing to all these people and no one's getting back to you, or very few of them?
Yeah. You have to have a strong support system. I tell everyone that you need to have your tribe, your wolf pack, whatever you want to call it, whether it's friends, family, mentors, you as my mentor, other, fellow colleagues and coaches, people that are kind of going through the same thing. That's where I get a lot of support and help, and just, people that believe in you sometimes more than you believe in yourself, because you're going to have days where no matter how well prepared you are, there's going to be days that you want to give up. There's days that you're like, oh my God, what was I thinking? And it's nice to have people around you to help lift you up during those times. And then you have to believe in yourself and your abilities too. And always get back to the why. Why did you even start going down this path? And that'll kind of help you stay focused, because you have to realize it's a marathon, not a sprint. This is a long-term endeavor. It's going to take time, and you just need to, stay consistent and stick with it.
Yeah. And the good part is, if you ever get frustrated next time and you write me an email, I'm just going to say, hey, listen to the last part of our interview.
Yeah.
I'm going to put your words right back in your mouth, right?
That's
So
right.
it's hard, but that's so important in everything you're saying there is the mindset behind how the perspective of how you're looking at things. There's the day-to-day stuff that you've got to do, but sometimes it can be very challenging to do that when nothing's happening, you get frustrated, you're out of that zone, so to speak.
Yeah,
And
people think it's more about money when you're starting a business. Like, I don't have the money, or how am I going to leave this steady paycheck? It's really more about mindset, because if you want to do it, if you're really passionate about something, you'll find a way to do it financially, putting a plan together or whatever. But if you don't have the right mindset, you're not going to be successful. You have to go into it with that mindset that you're going to stick with it even through, the tough times.
you're all in or you're not.
Yeah.
You're
You
in
have
or
to be
you're out. So
really in.
there's
Yeah.
no that I'm trying this, that it doesn't work.
No, not at all.
With that being said, talk about, having your tribe, your wolf pack, so to speak. And in there, you talk about that mentoring.
Mhm.
Talk about the value that you've found through our work together as your mentor coach.
Yeah. Well, you have the 5,000 foot view, which is nice because when you're in it, I mean, I met with someone the other day who's, a female entrepreneur, and she started her business about a year ago, or a year in January. So it's been about a year. We met, and I'm kind of, helping her as a mentor. And I said, oh, a year, that's nothing. You just started. And then I'm thinking about myself, and it seems like years instead of months. So when you're in it, it really helps to have somebody who has that perspective that can remind you that, you just started, you need to stay consistent. You also are tempted to want to change things right away because you're not seeing results like immediately. So you're thinking about changing this or that, and you don't want to do that. And I know that because I've worked for smaller companies, entrepreneurial companies, where I used to complain about the CEO because they would want to do that all the time. And I would say, no, we need to just stick with our plan. So you have to have a long-term plan and stick with it. Not that you're not going to remain flexible, but you don't want to also make knee-jerk reactions. So it helps to have someone like you who has the experience and who's seen a lot of different coaches and has an approach that's proven and knows, what it takes to get there.
Yeah. And I remember those times too, is a lot of them where, you're naturally inquisitive and naturally like, all right, well, should we pivot? Should we change, do that stuff? And I'm just like, well, no, we just started this. Let's just stay the course. And,
Yeah.
and that's a natural reaction. I think it's a valid thing to remember when we're starting this off. Is it's natural to do one thing, and the next thing you know, you're waiting for, okay, what's going to happen, and odds are nothing's going to happen. So we just got to do it again and again, and that's the path that we're on. And like I always tell you is, you've been out there now for, call it 4.5 months, whatever it is. But it's just like, yeah, let's do 8 months. And then next thing you know, it's 8 years. Mm-hmm. And we'll still be reinventing. I've been doing this in life since 2004. And it's just every so often I'm reinventing myself. And even at this phase, sometimes it can feel like, oh, nothing's working, but I would say the same thing to myself, is just stay the course. And next thing you know, it's working because of that consistency over time. That's all it really is.
Yeah.
And you've got that path. So as we start to wrap this up, I'll share your website again. Talk to people about how they can connect with you and maybe how you can help them.
Yeah, so you can go to my website, corporateescapeartist.com. That's where I have that free offer. You can download it. And if you do that, you'll receive my emails. You can also email me at caroline@corporateescapeartist.com. And I'm also on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. You can pretty much find me on any social media platform. But my website and my email are probably the best way to reach out to me. And I enjoy hearing from people and hearing their stories. So if you're somebody who is thinking about, maybe taking the leap, or maybe you want to make a career change outside of that 9-to-5 job, but you're just not sure how to do it, then I'd love to, hear your story.
That's great. And I definitely encourage you to check out her site, even if you're just looking at how she's done it. Check out her videos and her blog there as well. It's like she's got a weekly show. I haven't seen all your videos, but I've seen some of them, and you do a great job. They're nice and concise. You got what, 6 minutes or so each week?
Yeah, I try to
Yeah.
keep them short because, we've got so much,
Yeah.
everybody's so busy and everything else. So I try to keep it to anywhere between 6 and 10 minutes. And I just talk about all different types of topics that people are experiencing even in the corporate world, things like burnout and micromanagers, which was a really popular video for some reason. So
Huh.
all different types of topics. And I want people also that are watching this, if you're thinking of becoming a coach, I didn't even, the live videos weren't necessarily something I was planning, but it's something when you and I talked initially and you were like, okay, we need to think about a weekly something. And it could have been a podcast. It could have been something else, but we decided video would be a nice platform. And when I started, it's kind of scary. I mean, it's scary. I was like, the first time I'm thinking, 1,000 people are going to be on there watching me live, and what am I going to say, and all these things. And now it's so much easier once you get practice. I feel much more comfortable, and I actually enjoy it. So, I know a lot of people are hesitant about video or seeing themselves on video or being live or whatever, but it's actually a nice medium, and it just takes some practice if that's what people are interested in.
Yeah, and that's it, isn't it? It's like we become uncomfortable at first, and even if there's no one watching, which odds are in the beginning, no one's watching.
Yeah.
that's a good thing. It doesn't matter. So this way, someday when there are, let's say, hopefully thousands of people, we've done the work, so we do feel comfortable.